Hello. Hello everyone, welcome to my stream. It's the day before Halloween, so I thought I'd just do have some little spooky music. Get in the spirit of the season. And of course, to go along with the spooky music, I had to wear a spooky costume. Clearly. I would stream on actual Halloween, but I'm going to be busy. Also, I normally stream on Friday, so I figured I'd just go ahead and do it. But, you know, beyond the music and the costume, there's nothing really special planned. We're just hanging out, just trying to get into the spirit of Halloween. This is actually very comfortable, this Pikachu onesie. But how's everybody doing today? Anybody got any big Halloween plans? It's actually like today, well, yesterday really was like the first cold day here in Birmingham, Alabama. So it's actually onesie weather. Am I gonna go trick-or-treating? No. I don't know. I don't know how you do that as an adult. But tomorrow I'm going to play D&D and I'm going to watch football, and then I think we're gonna probably watch some scary movies and just get drunk, probably. Most likely that's what'll happen. So maybe you can call that a Halloween party. I'm trying to convince people to dress up. No, the D&D game won't be live streamed. I want to stream some D&D in the future, but this particular game won't be live streamed. Do I follow the Melee competitive scene? I haven't followed it recently, but my favorite player is probably Mango. I'm a big fan of Mewtwo King also. He plays so clean in Leffen. But probably my favorite is Mango because he just goes in. I'm actually running the campaign. I'm gonna try and see if I can make it spooky. We're gonna be continuing our campaign that we've been doing already, so I can't really just shoehorn something in. I guess I could just do a one shot and take a break from the regular game, but I might try to just add some spooky elements just to add to the effect. What's my favorite horror film? It's a toss up between The Shining and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original only. And I know that those are two very cliche answers, but it's because those movies are so fucking good and they're classics. But I'm not like a huge horror aficionado. In fact, I spent most of my life avoiding horror movies. I only recently have been trying to get back into them. I'm pretty picky about horror movies because a lot of horror movies are just fucking bad. And then a lot of horror movies are also just like, well, a lot of horror movies are like disturbing, which is like, disturbing can be okay, but like I don't want to walk away from a horror movie like bummed out, like sad. Like I don't want to do that. That's not what I go to the movies for. I feel like that's not entertainment. I mean, unless the sadness is like deeply profound and moving, which it rarely is. So I don't like stuff like that. I don't like super fucked up shit. Like a lot of movies are just unnecessarily fucked up, like, you know, sexual assault and things like that. It's like I don't want to see that. So I avoided horror movies for a long time because just a lot of it is just stuff that I don't want to watch. But there are a lot of really fun and really good horror movies, so I'm trying to get back into it. Why Texas Chainsaw Massacre? It's just I feel like it's just a brilliantly shot film. It's just like a masterclass on framing and cinematography and shots and things like that. Like it's just a really good film. You know, like the plot is nothing wild or anything, or nothing too crazy, but just the way it's shot I think is so effective. It works. It's also interesting because it takes place during the day, which is super rare for horror movies. So it's a movie that manages to still be terrifying even though it takes place during the day. But there's just like so many like iconic shots in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like the girl walking up to the house or Leatherface slamming the door. Like there's just so many cool stuff, so many cool things like that in the movie. Do I like psychological movies? I do like psychological movies unless they're stupid. Sometimes they try really, really hard. It's like the difference. Well, I say this because I'm a huge fan of The Matrix and I like all three of the movies, but I understand why a lot of people don't like The Matrix sequels. So it's like the difference between The Matrix 1 and The Matrix 2 and 3. Like The Matrix 1 was like really cool, but then 2 and 3 is like, okay, they're going a little too hard. But I was hooked already, so I liked it, but I understand like why people criticized it. So psychological movies can be hit or miss because sometimes people try too hard to be deep and it just ends up stupid. But sometimes it ends up being really cool. Like Inception, for example. What's your opinion on cheesy 80s horror like Nightmare on Elm Street? I like those movies can be fun, but again, those movies can get so silly to where it's like not even fun to watch anymore. It's just like you just cringe because it's so stupid. Like the original Nightmare on Elm Street is fine. I was never a huge fan of Nightmare on Elm Street, but it's fine. But most of the sequels are so stupid that it's like I don't even want to watch this because it's so dumb. Do I enjoy horror dramas? I don't think I've ever seen any of those. I don't watch a lot of TV shows, especially drama shows, especially horror shows. The only TV shows that I watch are comedy shows. Yeah, Silent Night, Deadly Night is fine. Slasher movies are not really, I don't know, like, I feel like they just got carried away with the slasher genre, but they're usually fun, I guess. But again, sometimes they're fucked up. Sometimes they take it too far. What are some bad horror movies? Oh, there's a ton of bad. Usually, if it's a sequel, it's probably bad. Especially if it's the third or later sequel. Like, fucking any Freddy Krueger movie past 2, they're terrible. Candyman 3 is terrible. I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer, fucking bad. So that's the first thing that comes to mind is sequels. They're like almost always bad, especially if they're like the third one. Halloween Resurrection, terrible. I think that's like the 4th or 5th one, maybe. The Dead Don't Die. I haven't seen that. Have I seen what's up with the Muslim community boycotting France? I actually don't. No, I haven't heard about that. I haven't like kept up with the news over the past week because I've been hard at work. Yeah, the Evil Dead series is dope, but I still think the second one is definitely the best one. But the third one's fine too. I'm trying to think of a movie that is not a sequel that I would say is bad. And keep in mind, like I said, I'm not a horror aficionado. I avoided horror movies for most of my life, so there's a lot of stuff that I haven't seen. But like I said, as of late, I've been trying to get back into it and go back and watch stuff that I missed. But I definitely still have missed a lot of stuff. The crack versus powder sentencing disparity also gives cops an incentive to target specific communities. Oh yeah, I feel like that's common knowledge at this point. Do you normally have pretty chilled out Halloweens, or is this year a little different for you? I know a lot of people are upset they can't party. Well, I don't normally have chilled out Halloweens. However, last year was the first year I had a chill Halloween. I think it's just because I'm getting older. But yeah, in the past I would normally go out and party. But I'm definitely not doing that this year, even though it is an option. There are bars that are having events, which is silly, but they're doing it. But I'm not doing that. Well, to be honest, I'm going to be hanging out with a very small group of people, like 4 or 5 people, because we're playing D&D, and then afterwards we're going to hang out. And we might party a little bit. We might imbibe some alcohol. And I don't know, we might throw some jams on. I know we're supposed to watch some movies, but you know, we might play some spooky music and have some fun. I don't know what's gonna happen. What do I think of horror parodies like Scary Movie? What are other examples of horror parodies? I hate Scary Movie, by the way. I know some people like it, but I hate that movie and I hate all of the sequels. It's so fucking stupid. Random question. Some of your recent vids feature your cartoon likeness with your voiceover instead of your actual self on screen. Any reason for that change? No specific reason. Just switching it up, just doing something new. Also, those videos are slightly easier to make. So if I am in like a time crunch or something, those are easier to make, and I think you can still make a decent video if you just do voiceover. But I don't think I would have ever switched my channel to only voiceover, because my face is the brand. It's the money maker. Yeah, I mean, I don't like stuff that is only stupid. Like, if something is stupid, it has to be stupid in a smart way, and I don't think it's stupid in a smart way. I think it's just stupid, and that's just not my jam. I don't want to watch stupid stuff. You know, like stuff like South Park, for example. South Park is stupid, but in a smart way. And I don't even like South Park that much, to be honest, but I like it. The better example is maybe like Rick and Morty or Family Guy or something. They're stupid in a smart way. I just doesn't seem to be the case with Scary Movie. It's just stupid. But I don't know, maybe people disagree. I love your content because it's really thought-provoking while also being considered a different perspective, while also being chill and funny. I appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words. I've been watching your videos recently. You seem like a chill guy. I really like your On Rights video. Appreciate that. Thank you. Actually, I did not see Parasite. I've been meaning to see it. Have I seen Shriek? If You Know What You Did Last Summer. I have not seen that. Yeah, I didn't even realize that it was supposed to be like a horror adjacent movie. Well, I guess I didn't really know what kind of movie it was, but pretty much everyone that I know that saw it loved it, so. Well, if I guess next time when I stream after watching it, because I do plan on watching it, then I'll share my thoughts. I have the best image of Shrek. If You Know What You Did Last Summer. That's hilarious. Yo, music box songs are the creepiest shit ever. I can't deal with music boxes, dude. about horror games? Horror games are intense. Like there's a lot of good ones, but I don't know, I can be kind of squeamish because unlike a movie, the shit that is like happening to you, it's not happening to some character, it's like literally happening to you. I haven't played any recent horror games though. I tend not to really play them. The most recent one that I experienced is Resident Evil 7, which I think is great. Resident Evil 7 really has the feel of a horror movie. But and as far as like classic horror games, Silent Hill 1 and 2 are both amazing. I just recently picked up Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, which is kind of a horror RPG. And it's tight. It's like really good actually. I was surprised at how good it was. Thoughts on polygamy? I've been considering that I could never be truly monogamous, but a lot of people seem to think that polygamy relationships can't work in practice and you can learn to be monogamous. I assume you mean polyamory. And I know a lot of people who are polyamorous, and my what I would say is I think that polyamorous relationships, like a lot of people are like polyamory doesn't work, but it's like the vast majority of monogamous relationships don't work either. So I think that polyamorous relationships work at about the same frequency as monogamous relationships. But it's a weird situation. I think that I to me, I don't know if this is I've talked about this before, but this might be news to people. I'm generally a non-monogamous person. Monogamy seems weird to me. I understand that it works for some people, but it is weird, it's difficult, and sometimes you deal with people that can't handle it. So you just, I don't know, just like pretty much any relationships, it requires communication and maturity. It's kind of the same. It depends on the person. Yeah, polygamy is something that's weird. Polygamy is more like a dude like marrying a bunch of women and like generally like being in control of them. It's, yeah, and it often has religious undertones. Like, I don't know, polygamy is different than polyamory for sure. What's up, Eric? Appreciate the kind words. Well, some relationships work, but the problem is people people sort of lose their ability to behave rationally whenever romance and emotions are involved, and that's why a lot of relationships don't work. You just finished Bloodlines? Cool. Yeah, I'm in the early stages of it, but I really love it. I intend to finish it at some point. Yo, would y'all consider BioShock a horror game? That shit's pretty creepy, and that game's amazing. Like all three games are amazing. The whole marriage thing is odd. Look behind you. Fortunately, I can see myself on the screen, so I can see if someone is behind me. I'd say a sci-fi horror almost. Yeah. So if that's in the runnings, I would put that on the list of a horror game that people should check out. How has it been navigating non-monogamy as a black person? I struggle with how. I don't know what 6F means. Maybe it's that world can be, though at the end of the day, live that life because monogamy makes no sense to me. It's interesting. I don't think that it's something that I'm still really learning about and navigating. I to be honest, I haven't really participated in too many different things. I've mainly had one situation. Like, it's not like I've been like in the community and dating around. Like, it's mainly like one situation that I've been in. It's a bit weird also because I live in Alabama, which is a pretty, traditional place, often religious, although a lot of the young people are less religious. But it's still very traditional. People have very traditional ideas about relationships, so it's hard to interact with certain things. But it's all about communication. You just have to communicate with people where you're at, where your mindset is at, and people figure out what they can and can't deal with. I think the way that we interact with marriage, I think, is weird, but I think the main benefit of marriage is marriage legally makes your partner a member of your family, which is good for various reasons. Oftentimes the law needs to know who's in your family, and I think that is good to have. But that's kind of the only benefit that I see. But if people want to do it as just a symbolic commitment, that's cool too. Whatever makes you happy. Like, I don't have anything against marriage, really. I mean, I have some of the things surrounding marriage, such as like people going broke planning weddings and all of the sort of industry around weddings that like forces people to spend money that they don't want to spend, that kind of stuff. That shit's dumb. And the fact that taxes are different when you're married, like, why? That's weird. I've never seen Hereditary, but I've like watched videos about it and stuff, so I'm pretty familiar with the plot. It seems cool, but I'm not sure if I would like it, because I usually don't like movies that are like super bum me out, and that seems like that movie would do that. But sometimes I can get over it if the movie is good enough. Like the example that I always give is the movie Requiem for a Dream. Like, I like that movie. I think it's a really good movie, but it's just like it bums me out, and I don't ever want to see it again. Have I seen Final Destination? Yes, I've seen several of them. I don't think I've seen all of them. I can't remember. I know I've seen 1 and 2. I've seen the one called The Final Destination. Final Destination 1 or 2 are interesting only because of the special effects, and that's another thing that horror movies are good for. Okay, sorry, OBS disconnected for a second. But yeah, the Final Destination movies are the first two, I think they're cool because of the effects. I don't really like the concept of Final Destination could be cool. Like, I like the premise, but the way that it's executed, it's just like, hey, let's watch people die. That's all. That's the whole point of this whole series, is just watching people die. We're not going to explore any themes. We're not going to dig deep into the lore. We're just going to make you watch people die, and that's it. And it's like, okay, that's boring. I don't care. And then in the later movies, all of the effects are like really like super CG, and most of them look stupid. So I was never a huge fan of that series. I was gonna say it's a symbolic commitment for me, which is why we're probably gonna have a pretty tame one as inexpensively as possible. Listen, I think people should do whatever they want. Like, I think a lot of people see weddings as, yo, this is a big deal for me, so let's have a big expensive party. And I'm super okay with that. Like, if you want to throw a party for your wedding, I mean, essentially a wedding is a big party. That's like pretty much all it is. So it's like, if you want to throw a big party to celebrate the fact that you have found a life partner, that's cool with me. I have no problem with that. That sounds dope to me. But I just think that there's so much like industry involved, and it like makes people spend money they don't want to spend because they think they have to. If you want to, go for it. Do you identify with the LGBTQ community? No, I don't. I know that some people want to add polyamory to that. I don't. That doesn't make sense to me, but that's just me though. And my brother did the music playing right now. He actually did not. This is just some royalty-free spooky music. You can check the description for the artist and a link to their channel if you're interested. It's called Ruesh Sounds, I think, something like that. But yeah, I just grabbed up some hopefully copyright-free music. We'll see if I get a strike. Do I like gore or gore elements? For some people, it's a deal breaker and says it does desensitize people to violence. It depends. I like. It's hard to say. Like I was saying before, I appreciate really good special effects, but I think it depends on the situation in the movie. Like I can't really figure it out, because sometimes I'm okay with it and sometimes it's like disturbing and it grosses me out. So I think it depends on like the situation in the movie. Like obviously, like the more cartoonish it is, the less disturbing it is. Like most of the kills in the Final Destination movies are pretty cartoonish, so they're not that disturbing, and I can appreciate the effects. But there's one, like for example, there's one I think in Final Destination 4, I want to say, with the gymnast. If you've seen this movie, you know what I'm talking about. Basically, she's on like the uneven bars. She's like doing her flips and shit, but something happens where she like loses her grip and she like flips and falls and just completely mangles her body on the ground, and it looked like super realistic. And it like, I like to this day, like I turn my head every time that's on. I can't deal with stuff like that look too realistic. And then there's sometimes gore is just tasteless and ridiculous. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Terrifier. This is an example of a movie that I dislike because it bums me out and it's just over the top in a way that I find disgusting and disturbing. And it's like super gory. It's like one of the goriest movies I've ever seen. Not in that it has a lot of like blood and guts and stuff, but it just has a lot of like realistic body mutilation. And it's just like very tasteless, and I don't like it. So it really depends on the situation. But you know, like if like I'm trying to think of an example. I don't like torture. Put it that way. Well, that's one thing. I don't like torture. I don't like watching torture. Like, I feel like this stream is gonna get demonetized anyway because of what we're talking about. So I think that's one of the sort of deal breakers for me is torture. I don't want to watch people be tortured. That's not cool to me. I'm out for the night. It's late here. Enjoy your Halloween. All right, Aaron, thanks for stopping by. Do I like where I live? For the most part, I like where I live, but I live in Birmingham, Alabama, which is like the city in Alabama. I think if I lived in a different part of Alabama, it would be different. But overall, it's fine. I think there are definitely better places out there. Do I think there's an objectively good way to be a parent? Probably not. There is rarely an objectively good way to do anything. But I wouldn't know because I have no experience being a parent. All right, Samuel, thanks for stopping by the stream. Have I read Better to Never Have Been? It's a book from David Benatar about antinatalism, who argues that it's immoral to bring people in this world. Well, I've definitely never read that, but I've heard that idea before. I feel like that that hinges upon the idea that the world is bad, or at least that the world is more bad than it is good, which I don't think I agree with. There are certain situations where, like, for example, if you made the argument it's immoral to have a black baby in America, I feel like because that's more specific, that might be more convincing. But just the idea that it's immoral to reproduce in general, I don't know if I agree with that. Did you like the Spider-Verse movie? I did. I loved it. Who didn't like that movie? I don't think I trust anyone who watched that movie and didn't love it. He was interviewed by Alex from Cosmic Skeptic. Yeah, I might check that out. My friend thought the Spider-Verse movies had pro-natalism undertones. Maybe. I feel like most most fiction is pro-natalism though, so like it's just kind of taken for granted that everybody wants children, right? Even though that's not true. I know a lot of people that very vehemently do not want children. No, I'm not anti-natalist. I don't know if you heard the argument I just made. But yeah, there's a lot of I guess there's many arguments for antinatalism. I don't necessarily know if I've heard every single one, but as of yet I'm not really convinced of that. It's like, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, we can have this philosophical discussion, but it is a kind of an impractical and useless discussion because people aren't going to stop having children. But I think the main sort of like overarching idea is that either the world or being alive sucks, or at least that it sucks more than it doesn't suck. And I just fundamentally disagree with that. Obviously it's different for different people, but from my perspective I don't agree with that. Do I think intent influences if something is immoral? Argued that if, for example, someone just finds out that they're going to have a black baby and decides to abort it, it wouldn't be moral anymore. If someone finds out that they're gonna have a black baby and decides to abort, it wouldn't be moral anymore. Are you saying that it would be moral if they didn't know the race of the baby? But in general, I do intent influences whether something's moral or not. Absolutely. Like if you try to kill someone and you stab someone in the head, but you end up stabbing some part of the brain that fucking, I don't know, like unlocks their maximum brain potential and makes them like a super genius, and then they go on to cure all of the world's diseases. That was still an immoral act because you intended to kill him, even though it had a very positive outcome. Do I watch anime, specifically horror anime? I don't really watch anime at all. Are you interested in normative philosophy at all, like in terms of utilitarianism and deontology? I think it's interesting. Yeah, I love those discussions and stuff. But I just I just want I dislike when people have those sort of like hypothetical philosophical discussions as if they are practically applicable to the real world, which in many cases they aren't. But they're fun to have, and I think that thinking about them improves your ability to think about more practical conversations. So I have nothing against it. Pro-choice hinges on the idea that it would bring less harm if the person is obliged to have a baby that it doesn't want. However, if it's made with malice, it wouldn't be moral. Yeah. I don't know if that's necessarily what pro-choice hinges on, but I mean that's one way to look at it. But yeah, I mean I think I agree that if the only reason someone had an abortion is because they thought they were going to have a black baby, that's probably immoral. I've heard the argument of a bullet hitting a tumor. Yeah, I just came up with that idea, but I'm sure I'm not the first one to think of something like that. Looking epic, dude. I appreciate that. What is a baby? Well, that is a question that many people are pondering. Abortion is a very complicated issue, and I've gone back and forth with it. It seems so complicated that I feel uncomfortable telling someone what they should do or restricting their access. I don't know. I have a very somewhat controversial take on abortion. Well, it's not controversial until you press me on it. It seems pretty uncontroversial, but really I'm all about bodily autonomy, and I truly think that a person gets to choose what happens to their own body. That's like pretty much it, and I really take that to the extreme. Like, I'm not even really concerned about what when life begins. Like, I don't really care when life begins. What matters to me is whose body is being affected. Once you find that out, that person gets to decide what happens. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Like, I take this to the extreme, and this is when it gets controversial. Like, for example, hold on, let me phrase this correctly. And listen, it is complicated. I don't mean to be like, I don't want to simplify things. It's very complicated, but I have a direction that I generally lean towards. Like, for example, I don't know, like, say like two dudes are walking down the street and there's a fucking toxic waste, a spill of toxic waste, comic book style, in the middle of the street, and one dude like falls and trips into the toxic waste. He's like covered in this radioactive toxic waste, and another dude walks by, and the dude like reaches up, he's like, help me please, and he touches his hand, and his hand becomes fused to the other person's hand because of the toxic waste. And so they go to the hospital, and the hospital's like, yo, we gotta separate this hand. We gotta separate your hands. But if we do this, wait, I don't know. I don't know if this is a great example, but like, if it's like, I have to chop off your hand. If he's like, I have to chop off your hand in order for this dude to live, I think the person gets to, if the person who's being asked that gets to choose. This isn't the greatest example because there are two people who may have an equal stake in this. I'm trying to think of an example where the stake is unequal. In the case of a like similar to the case of a pregnancy, definitely unequal stakes, because one person literally has no agency in that situation. Well, I just want to indicate that I think that I'm not really concerned about whether the fetus or the baby is alive or not, or a person or not. That's not really what concerns me. Did I ever see any of Destiny's conversations? I've seen some of them. Destiny is pro-life, isn't he? He's kind of moved from pro-life to pro-choice over the last 2 years. Okay, I didn't know that. I don't think that Destiny ever thought that abortion should be illegal, but I think that he was trying to argue that abortion was immoral, but maybe he's moved from that. Yeah, maybe brain dead Siamese twin, or conjoined twin is, I think, the more polite term. If one has a religious conviction that life begins at conception and argue that abortion is murder, then when miscarriage happened, is God the murderer? I'm sure that they have an answer for that, but I don't know what it is. But really, it just boils down to bodily autonomy for me. Like, you get to choose what happens with your own body. I guess the controversial point would be late stage abortion. Like, a lot of people think that shouldn't be a thing. But to me, I think bodily autonomy still applies. And I guess that's when it gets controversial. What about veganism? What do you mean, what about veganism? Yeah, and that's the, yeah, I mean that's the thing too, is people don't get late stage abortions unless they have to. Do you have a philosophical opinion, ethics of animals, like do they deserve bodily autonomy, etc.? I don't know. When I don't know the makeup of the people in this chat, but whenever I talk about veganism, people get mad at me. But yeah, I don't see animals as people. Like, I don't understand the argument that animals should be treated the same as humans. It seems to be like a purely emotional argument. I don't understand the reasoning behind it. But it may have something to do with how you think about morals in the first place. Because the way that I think about morals is pretty unique, at least. A lot of people don't talk about it that way. I mean, I talked about it in my video about healthcare. Essentially the social contract. And I don't think that humans can enter into a social contract with animals. Like, if you choose because of your personal values to treat animals in the same way that you would treat people, that's cool, but I don't know how you justify condemning other people if they don't do it. Yeah, the fact that they feel pain is not really relevant to the argument that I'm making. In fact, I think it supports my argument that it's an emotional sentiment. Like, you have to create a link between they can feel pain, thus we should treat them the same as people. I don't see the link there. I don't think that when I think about the way that we ought to behave, I don't think of it in an emotional way. I think of it as a sort of rationally implied social contract between people. I think a lot of things are emotional, but those are things that I don't think are, like, I don't know, like, you know, like fucking don't cut people off in traffic. I think most people agree that that's a shitty thing to do, but that's like a purely emotional thing. It's not based in any like real, I mean, you could argue that it is, because it's kind of an expected thing, but it's sort of like an arbitrary rule that society has come up with and doesn't have any really like objective value. It's possible that some of the very smartest animals could be exempt from this, like chimpanzees and maybe dolphins or something. They may be able to enter into the social contract with humans. I'm not sure. I'm not smart enough, but I know that the vast majority of animals simply cannot. So I don't think that humans have like moral obligations. Again, if you do it, that's fine. And this is like the more that we go down into this conversation, the more people get mad at me. And I think it's largely an emotional response. Like it's just like a visceral response. And I'm not like Destiny. I don't want my audience to hate me. Like, and listen, I have the emotional response too, but I just because, you know, like, I don't know. When I say something is rational, I mean self-interested. No. Like, in the sense, like, for example, if you ask someone a question, if you say, I don't know, like, where's the bank? If you go up to someone and you ask someone where's the bank, it is rational to assume that they're gonna tell you where the bank is. It would be irrational to assume that they would lie to you. So it's a rational expectation. You have entered into a contract to where you ask a question and you expect them to tell you the truth. So, and it's rational for you to expect them to tell you the truth. So, if they don't tell you the truth, if they lie, they've broken this contract, this implied contract. And that all right, Joy, thanks for joining the stream. Why is it rational to expect people to not do murder? Because humans have demonstrated a pretty much long-standing and consistent desire to not die. So I think it is rational to expect people to not murder you, because we kind of all agreed that we don't want to die. So I think it's rational to expect people not to cause other people to die. I don't think that I don't think a social contract is emotion. I think that's different. I don't see how that is emotion. Emotion is like, ooh, I'm sad because someone died. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's like an innate desire to not die. Yeah, it's not because it's unpleasant and scary. It's just an innate desire to not die. It's nothing to do with emotion. I mean, the emotion is there, but that's not the reason that I'm saying we shouldn't do it. Like, the emotion exists for sure, but it's not the cause. Yeah, animals have self-preservation. However, there is no contract between humans and animals, in the same way that there's no contract between a lion and a deer to not kill each other. There's no contract between humans and other animals to not kill each other. We don't have the capability of entering into that contract because we're on different levels of intellect and different levels of the food chain, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, you for sure you can choose to do it if you want. That I've said that a couple times. I'm saying that I don't really see the basis for condemning people if they don't do it. You certainly can. You absolutely can. Well, it's not really a contract. What you're doing is you're deciding to show compassion to another animal, and that animal has no obligations on their side. So that's not really a contract. But you can choose to do that for sure. But that's not a contract. So like, that's just you choosing to do something. Yeah, I don't care. Like, it is hard to talk about this because people have emotional reactions to things, and it's also to talk about things like in an argumentative way, because it's hard to, like, if I say like I don't care, like I don't care about animals, that sounds like really shitty. Which is like, I mean, I like dogs. Dogs are cool. I like animals. They're fine. But like, it's hard to say that without triggering emotional responses in people. But like, I don't care about animals. Not, at least not to the extent of humans. Like, I don't care if people eat dogs. Like, I wouldn't eat a dog. Probably mostly because of an emotional reaction, but I don't think that I have a justification for condemning people morally for doing it, because I don't think there's an obligation to not do it. I don't think there's any rational obligation to not do it. I definitely didn't bring it up, but I also didn't say that people were condemning me. Well, I don't, as for punishments for immoral behavior, I don't know that. I don't really think that there's any way to quantify that. That's just really just going to depend on the society that you live in. Really, the only thing that logically or rationally follows is just the simple act of pointing out that the thing was immoral. But as for the actual punishment, I don't know how you would ever really objectively quantify that. Recognizing pain and having an emotional reaction are not the same thing. I don't think I said that they were. I don't know the difference between a sociopath and a psychopath. Well, if I did, I misspoke. I don't think I did, though. They're clearly two different things. Thanks for the kind words, Jake. But yeah, like I said, this this is why I don't talk about veganism that much. Well, I mean, it wasn't really that bad, but it's the same thing with like the dog thing, like animal cruelty. Like I have an emotional reaction to it, but I don't see the basis for morally condemning it. What do you think about the morality of eating a Chick-fil-A? I think that in this day and age, I feel like you're gonna be hard pressed to spend money at any corporation that isn't shitty in some way. I mean, I feel like it's up to you if you want to try to reduce your harm, but in general, I don't like when people try to like talk shit about people or like complain about other people because they didn't reduce harm in the way that someone else did. I think that everyone gets to decide what they invest their emotional energy in, and I don't think that you get to tell people where their emotional energy should be spent, especially when there are like so few choices for reducing harm, or so I guess so many choices, I should say. Do I see animal cruelty as a slippery slope to then harming people? I guess you'd have to explain to me how that happens, like the connection between those things. And I'm not even sure like the context in which you mean that. Is this supposed to be spooky music? What the hell? Anyway. But yeah, I don't know. It's sort of like the same thing with separating art from artists. It's like it requires an inordinate amount of emotional energy to literally scrutinize every single thing you watch and listen to and read, in the same way that it takes an inordinate amount of energy to scrutinize every single company you spend money at to make sure they're not causing harm, when probably most of them are. And I don't think it is fair to ask people to expend that kind of emotional energy. So, I think people just get to decide where their energy goes, and maybe they still go to Chick-fil-A, but maybe they stop shopping at Walmart. You know, you don't really get to tell people what to do with their emotional energy. What's up, Cameron? It's a common trope that serial killers grew up killing animals. Oh, well, yeah, I mean, this is a different conversation than what we were talking about before. But yeah, I mean, sure, sometimes people who did one thing end up doing a different thing later, but that doesn't mean the two things are similar or the same. Like a person who drinks a bunch of beer may go home and beat their wife, I don't know. That doesn't mean that drinking a bunch of beers is immoral or immoral in the same way as beating your wife is. But sure. Yeah, I mean, sure, there can be links between things. I'll give you that. What do I think of Doug Jones' chances? He's probably not gonna win, if I had to guess. He's not, he's not up against a known pedophile this time, so. And I don't think he's really done anything to impress the voters in Alabama, really. So I doubt people are going to show up that hard for him. But I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, no, I understand, Drowning Poodle. I assume that might be what the person was getting at. But just in case that was what they were getting at, I just wanted to give a response. I never really eat at Chick-fil-A that much though, but I do more than never. So Shasta Lightfoot, thank you for the $20. Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween to you as well. Happy Halloween to everyone. Anybody, what are the Halloween plans? How's my day going? It's going pretty well. It's kind of been my free day. I've been working all week, working on my upcoming video. Been pretty busy. Finally taking a break today, and I mean, I guess streaming is kind of like working, but it's more fun, it's more chill. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy for me not to eat there because I don't really eat fast food that much in general. And also, I don't know if this is the case for all Chick-fil-A's, but the Chick-fil-A near me is always fucking busy. There's always a line all the way down the street, which is crazy to me because it's like Chick-fil-A is fine. It's not that good though. Come on now. But yeah, I think like what we were saying is sometimes that's just where the group's going. So I agree that Popeye's chicken sandwich beats Chick-fil-A's. Also, it's pretty easy to make a really good chicken sandwich yourself at home if you want to. Y'all making me hungry though. Making chicken piccata adjacent chicken. I don't condemn you for eating a Chick-fil-A occasionally. Well, I don't think you should. But you know, everyone has their own thing. I think in general, just in general, people should worry less about what other people are doing and worry more about themselves. I just think that's a good rule overall. Just worry on improving yourself. Worry about being a good person yourself. Stop focusing on what other people are doing. I feel like that's just a good way to be. I have too much hair. I can't like show off the Pikachu. I don't think I've ever, I don't know if we have canes here in Alabama and Birmingham. Actually, I'm gonna have to eat here pretty soon. I'm gonna be right back though. I'm going to put some ice in my cup. Hey, this is a Chick-fil-A cup. Speaking of, that's hilarious. I'm gonna go put some ice in this cup and then put some drink in it. BRB. Look at my tail. Oh, that makes sense. I completely forgot that this was a Chick-fil-A cup sitting here. Yeah, I went there recently and it was like the first time in maybe months. It's not, it's like, it's fine. It's not even that great to me. Like I would rather get like a Whopper than like anything at Chick-fil-A. That's just me though. I have to use Coke Zero because they didn't have any Diet Coke at the gas station when I went. I think Diet Coke is vastly superior to Coke Zero, or it's Coke Zero Sugar now. It's what it's called. I like the waffle fries at Chick-fil-A. That's about it, though. What's with some fast food places not have root beer? I never get root beer. I like root beer, though. Do you have Middle Eastern places in Alabama? Definitely, especially in Birmingham. There's a lot of international eateries in Birmingham. We've got a couple of Mediterranean places. There's I want to say that there is an Egyptian place. But yeah, I haven't really eaten at most of them, so I couldn't tell you whether it was good or not. I don't eat out that much. I might start more because I like actually can afford it now. Before I just couldn't afford it, so I never ate out. But now I'm not. Now I'm definitely not eating out that much because of the COVIDs. What did I do before YouTube? The last job that I had before being a YouTuber was I worked security at a bar. I was the door guy. And it was an easy job, but you kind of have to be mean to do that job. And I'm not really a mean person. So it was hard for me to do it. Well, it's not that it was hard. It was that it sort of brought out a mean side of me that I didn't like. So I like didn't like how it made me act, because you have to deal, as with most service industry jobs, you have to deal with a lot of shitty people every day. And it's even worse when you're at a bar, because a lot of those shitty people are fucking drunk, so they're like extra shitty. It's harder to discuss restaurants with no one been anywhere new. Yeah. I've been to an A&W restaurant. Not recently. I forgot that those were a thing. I've been doing a little bit of DoorDash. I will say that, but I usually have some favorites that I go to. I don't try that many new things. I probably should, to be honest. I usually DoorDash like Jack's. I think Jack's is Alabama only, or maybe South only, but it's fucking dope. Nice fast food restaurant. And then like Chinese food, like a local Chinese place I order from a lot. Fried rice is like one of my all-time favorite foods. Although, and this may be like sacrilegious, but I make fried rice myself, and I think I like it better than the Chinese places. Than most Chinese, not every, but most Chinese places. I like mine better, but maybe because I made it specifically for me, so I know what I like. But I like mine better. I made fried rice live on stream one time for those that didn't know. I don't know if anyone was there for that, but it is recorded. If you want to go look at it, you just go to my live stream playlist on my channel. It went pretty well. I made too much, like it didn't fit in the pan I was making it in. because I wanted to make enough for me and my brothers, so I made a shit ton of it, but I made way too much and it was spilling out of the pan. But other than that, it was fine. Give us my recipe. Fried rice is really easy. You just need rice, obviously. Well, the only things that I think are necessary for fried rice, like absolutely you have to have it, is rice, eggs, onions, and probably soy sauce. Everything else you can sort of mix and match based on what you actually have available. And oil, you need a lot of oil. We don't need a lot of oil, but you should. It's supposed to be oily, kind of. And it's a good way to use leftover rice if you have some, but you don't have to use leftover rice. A lot of people say that you should, like, you need to use day-old rice or leftover rice, but you don't. You can cook rice and use it the same day. But yeah, so you just, you know, I like to put mushrooms in mine. You saute some onions and mushrooms. You get like your protein, whatever you want. I like shrimp, or you can do a combination shrimp, pork, chicken. That's what I did on my stream. I like to marinate the protein in sesame oil. Sesame oil is pretty amazing, but it's very like overpowering. So I don't want to like actually pour it on anything. I like to marinate. Get like some vegetables. Just whatever vegetables you have, peas, broccoli, carrots, water chestnuts, corn, whatever you have, just put it in there, saute it a little bit. Obviously adding oil and salt every time you add something new. Then add your rice, put some soy sauce on the rice, put some oyster sauce on the rice, and then add your marinated protein, or you know, fry the rice for a little bit and add your marinated protein, mix it all up. That's pretty much all you got to do. I have not watched Haunting of Hill House. I don't know if it would be my jam. I don't watch TV that much unless it's comedy. Right now I'm going back and watching comedy shows that I missed out on. Like I just finished watching The Good Place. And right now I'm going back through Community because I never actually watched all of it. I like sitcoms. When it comes to TV, that's kind of all I watch. Maybe I would like Haunting of Hill House. I heard that it's pretty intense, which can be good or bad with me because as much as I'm trying to get back into horror movies, I'm still pretty squeamish. I'm not afraid to admit it. I get spooked easily, and I don't like being spooked, to be honest, which, you know, might sound contradictory to someone that wants to be into horror movies. But yeah, I don't want to be like, I don't mind being spooked, but I don't want to be like, oh man, that was fucked up and that like ruined my day. Like, I don't want that to happen. And I've heard that it can get pretty intense. I don't know. Do I have an air fryer? I don't. I think I'll buy one. Almost everyone that I know that has an air fryer swears by their air fryer. Like, everyone I know that has one loves it. Yeah, sesame oil is amazing. Like I said, like, it has a really good taste. Really just adds a splash of flavor to anything. But if you put too much, it really does overpower like the taste of everything. It was kind of boring, but way better than Bly Manor. I don't even know what Bly Manor is. Someone mentioned that earlier. Oh, was Happy Endings good? I never saw that, actually. I would like to see it. I probably will see it, because I watch, I pretty much watch every sitcom eventually, or every, like, major one, and even some minor ones. Seasons 4 to 6 blow of what? Of Community or of one of these horror shows? Oh, Okay, it's a different one. It's a sitcom and a satire of sitcoms. Interesting. I like self-aware stuff. But the question is it funny? Well, this is honestly, I realize that shows don't have to be funny. Sitcoms don't have to be funny in order for me to like them. Like, for example, I don't know if this is an uncommon opinion, but I didn't think The Good Place was very funny at all. Like, I don't think it's funny almost at all. There's like maybe one or two jokes that I really liked throughout the whole series. But I still love it. Like, I still really liked it. It just has a really cool story and a really cool world and backdrop and everything. And you know, some of the characters are good. I wasn't too sold on the characters, which I understand is kind of the point at the beginning. Not to spoil anything. I don't know if anyone cares about spoilers, but it took like, it's one of those things where the characters are kind of unlikable until the end of the series. Which I usually don't like watching shows where I don't like the characters, but this show was like so cool and unique, and the story was really awesome. And it's, you know, it's a Michael Schur show, so it has that sort of like optimism, and I'm into stuff like that. That's just me being a softie. I like good-hearted, optimistic shit like that. So. Well, the thing about The Good Place is there are a lot of jokes in it. Like, there are as many jokes in it as any sitcom. They're just not that funny. Like that whole thing about how they can't swear in The Good Place, so they say forking shit shirt balls. Like, I fucking hated that shit. It was so cringy to me. But they kept making that joke. And honestly, this also might be blasphemy. I've been watching Community. I'm only on the first season. Maybe it probably gets. I'm sure it gets better, but I don't think Community's that funny, to be honest. There's a couple. It's funnier than The Good Place, but it's not that funny. Like, honestly, like Donald Glover is kind of carrying the show because nobody else is that funny. But it probably gets better. But I do like it. I still like Community. Don't get me wrong. It's just not that funny. I find it hard to find laugh out loud shows. Well, there are definitely funny shows. I think Parks and Rec is laugh out loud funny. That show's so fucking funny. 30 Rock is fucking hilarious. We go back, like Seinfeld, to me, almost every line in that show is fucking hilarious to me. I think Friends is funny. Apparently, it's hip now to say that Friends sucked, but Friends, I think, is one of the greatest sitcoms of all time, and I also think it's really funny. But maybe it's just me being like a fucking Gen X / or what they call Zennial, when you're like in between Millennial and Gen X. Maybe that's just my generation. That's humor for my generation. Also, like Martin, that show's fucking hilarious. I'm trying to think of some other. I will say, It's Always Sunny is truly funny, but that's an example of a show that I'm not as into because I truly despise all of the characters on that show. And I understand, again, that's kind of the point. They're all like terrible people, and that's like kind of the point of the show. But it's just hard for me to watch a show where I just despise all of the characters. Bought your merch. Quality is great. Thanks, TJ. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy it. Oh, the ice rink, that is hands down the funniest scene of the whole series, where they're walking through the ice rink. Oh my god, they keep restarting the music. That is I fucking lost it the first time I saw that. Get on your feet. There was that song. Yeah, that shit's funny. I have to like at least one person. Yeah. I think that's what kept me going with The Good Place, because I didn't like any of the characters at first. But I really liked Michael. Like, Michael was a character I always liked from the beginning, and I think he sort of kept me. And Janet, of course. If you don't like Janet, I don't know what's wrong with you. But Michael and Janet kind of carried the show for me until later seasons when you sort of warm up to all the other characters. I also like Rick and Morty a lot. I don't know if Rick and Morty is just cool, I guess. I don't know if it's like super funny. Like there are definitely funny parts, and there are definitely parts that made me laugh out loud. But mostly it's just cool. Michael is Ted Danson. He is like the guy who designed he's the architect of the place where all the characters are. Yeah, Rick and Morty is one of those shows that has developed a shitty fan base because it's a show with a lot of really smart humor, so people like to pretend that they are smarter than other people because they get Rick and Morty. But that's really silly because Rick and Morty is super popular. So everybody gets it, you know? It's not, you're not that smart. But I think there's certain types of media that people think they are smart because they get it. But then it's like, everybody gets it. It's fine. Like, relax. It's sort of like The Simpsons back in the day. Like, when The Simpsons was really going strong, that was another show where people were like really elitist about it. It's like, oh, this is highbrow humor. You wouldn't understand. But the thing is, it only happens with things that are popular, because it's like people are like, everyone loves it, but they don't get it. Say, yeah, we get it. It's fine. But when it's something that is not that popular or something that's like overlooked, like the example that came to my head is Twin Peaks. Like, it's a show that, you know, probably wasn't as popular as... My God. Okay, OBS disconnected again. Sorry. Oh yeah, the Big Bang Theory. The thing about the Big Bang Theory is that it's a show about smart people, but it's not that smart of a show. Like it references things that the average person doesn't know. Like, yeah, the average person may not know like what a Planck length is, or, you know, what theoretical astrophysicists do. But like none of the situations or the humor is that smart. And I say this as a person who probably likes the Big Bang Theory more than most people. Like, I think it's fine. It's just it's like I don't know what I'm describing, but it's just like one of those shows that you watch and it's fine, you know? I'm never gonna like write home about it, but I think it's fine. And I think the Big Bang Theory actually has some cool characters on it. And there are like pretty cool character arcs if you watch a lot of the show. But it's fine. It's nothing special. I thought Big Bang Theory tried to be too broad in its nerdiness. Most of the physics people I met in grad school weren't in the comic books. That's interesting. I don't know if I knew any like really hardcore physics people, but I know that like the math and science nerds are often different from like the comic book, anime, whatever nerds. So that's interesting. It would be better if it were less misogynist. I agree. I mean, but you can kind of say that for almost all media. Oh, King of the Hill, of course. I think King of the Hill, if I had to like rank my like what I think are like the greatest TV shows of all time, King of the Hill would probably be in the top 3. It is such a great show, and it is so consistently good from beginning to end also. I just love that David from Roseanne is in Big Bang. A lot of people from Roseanne are in Big Bang. I forgot her name. The woman who plays Darlene on Roseanne has a small recurring role in the show, and I think the woman who plays Jackie actually has a role in the show as well. Yeah, Sarah Gilbert. Roseanne, another great sitcom, by the way. One of my top 10 favorite sitcoms. Unfortunately, it seems that Roseanne Barr herself is not such a great person, but she helped to make a really great show, and that seems to be the case. You know, as we go back to the conversation about separating art from artists, like another, perhaps my favorite sitcom of all time, if you watch my videos you would know this, is The Cosby Show, and I don't even need to get into that conversation. Another show that I think is hilarious, by the way. The Cosby Show is so funny, dude. It's fucking hilarious. Yo, one of my fondest memories is hanging out with a bunch of friends in a lake house, and after, you know, we kind of spent the day hanging out at the lake, cooking out, and then just at the end of the day we all just like chilled in the living room and just marathoned King of the Hill for like 8 hours into the sunlight, and it was amazing because that show's great. I like the idea. I don't know if it's interesting because Hank Hill, and just all the characters on that show, but specifically Hank Hill, is a more three-dimensional and complex person than a lot of real people that are in similar situations as him, that are like, you know, conservative Texans. Like, how is this cartoon man have more depth than many human beings that I have met? I think It's Always Sunny is funny, but I hate all the characters. I don't know if you were I said that earlier. I don't know if you heard that, but it's hard to watch because I hate all the characters. It's like, good God. But it is truly funny. And it's interesting because it's Mike Judge, right? And listen, Beavis and Butthead I think it was good. It was kind of it was a smart show that was also stupid. But I wouldn't have expected the guy who made Beavis and Butthead to make such a like brilliant, heartwarming show like King of the Hill. Like, it's so good. Yeah, I think the thing with Community, it's really cool. Like, the situations are cool. Even if it's not making me laugh, I'm still like really interested in what's going on. Again, no spoilers. I haven't watched through it, and I just got to like the end of the first season. But they're like really like hinting at like this sort of like love triangle type shit, and I don't know if that's a thing that's gonna happen. And listen, I'm a softie. I love a good romance. I love a good romance story. I love a good will they, won't they. I'm super into that. But don't be cheesy with it. No, I 100% agree that they're still complex people. I don't mean to imply that they're not. And I was kind of being tongue-in-cheek when I said that. But a lot of people are very, very predictable in what they're going to do. Like a lot of real life people are very, very predictable in what they're going to do and what they're going to say, especially when it comes to politics. Also, Community has a top tier theme song. This is something that a lot of sitcoms are lacking, in my opinion. I feel like a lot of them don't have really great theme songs or intro themes or whatever you want to call them. Community has a very top tier theme. Yeah, listen, if I never want to encourage people to prejudge people just because they're conservatives, or be cruel to people just because they're conservatives. So I don't, if that was the implication that people got from that, I want to make sure I counter that, because I definitely don't want to say that. I'm not one of these people. I dislike this sort of antagonism and like sort of us versus them mentality. Like, this is one of the reasons why I've like separated myself from a lot of other left-wing groups online, because there's sort of like this us versus them. I've seen, like, I literally saw a tweet a couple months ago that literally said all conservatives are evil. Someone ironically typed that into Twitter. It's like, I'm not down for stuff like that, you know. People are complex. Even if people come to different conclusions, even if people are cruel and do shitty things, they're still complex, and sometimes it's worth thinking about what caused them to reach the conclusions that they have. And in my opinion and in my experience, the only thing that has ever worked in getting people to see your side is to treat them like a human and not like some kind of villain, and to try to empathize with them and see where they're coming from. So I just want to be clear that that's my position on that. I was being a little bit tongue-in-cheek with the Hank Hill thing. Yeah, see, I was saying that, I mean, I guess you're trying to avoid the spoiler, but I was saying that Donald Glover was pretty much carrying the show, at least in the first season. So we'll see what happens. Oh, Schitt's Creek, that's another great show. I love that show. It does have a good theme though. Boom, 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 bump. Something like that. I can't do it. Who do I think is my favorite left-wing influencer at the moment? Favorite left-wing influencer. If you mean someone that specifically talks about politics frequently, Natalie Wynn for sure. ContraPoints. If you just mean like a person who is left wing but who doesn't necessarily talk about politics all the time, probably Hank Green. There's probably others, but I can't think right now. Yeah, I've seen everything except the last season of Schitt's Creek, and I need to watch that because it just dropped on Netflix. And again, I like shows like that. It's not a Michael Schur show, but it has that positivity and optimism, and I just like that. I'm a softie. I like optimistic shows. I like shows that are hopeful and optimistic for the outlook of humanity. Hydrate before the last episode. Oh man, is it like The Good Place? Yo, the last episode of The Good Place made me cry like 18 times. I get sick of people from my team patting themselves on the back on how righteous they are. Yeah, for sure, 100%. Futurama's great. It's pretty good. I think that I like Futurama less than a lot of other people, but I like it. I don't dislike it. Man, the last episode of The Good Place was a lot. But I loved it. A British comedy like Sex Education. I've never seen that. I actually have not seen too many British comedies. The only one that I've seen a decent amount of, or in terms of sitcoms, is The IT Crowd, and I think that's a great show. But I feel like a lot of British humor is not, like, I don't get it. or maybe it's just like you're not supposed to get it. Like, it's dry and like you're not really supposed to laugh out loud most of the time. But I just haven't seen that much of it. So I like detective shows. I probably haven't seen that many detective shows. Like, the reason that we're talking about all these sitcoms is because I said earlier that sitcoms are kind of the only shows that I watch. Are there any detective sitcoms? That would be cool. I mean, can I spoil it? The ending of The Good Place? Well, it's hard to spoil the ending of... Or is that even what you're talking about? Oh yeah, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, another great show. Another optimistic Michael Schur show. Well, I guess if there's anyone in the chat that specifically does not want me to spoil The Good Place, they should let me know, and if not, then I can spoil it. But the problem is, you have to sort of tell the whole story, because the story has like very specific beats that you have to mention in order to even understand the ending. I think you should watch The Good Place. Like, if I tell you what happens in the ending, it won't make any sense unless you know like 5 different things that happen before it. Yeah, I think you should watch it. You should watch... Here's what I'll say. You should watch the first season and like the first 3 episodes of the second season. And if you're not into it by then you can stop. Because I really think the second season is like really when you get really invested and you're like, oh shit, I need to know what's going to happen. So if you watch the first few seasons, like if you watch the first season, I think you have to watch the full first season. Because you're kind of like, what the hell's going on here? Like, this is weird. And then you get to the end of the first season and you're like, oh, and then the second season begins and you're like, oh, okay, I need to know what's going to happen. So that's kind of what I would say. Did you see that ludicrous display last night? How do you deal with shows that age kind of poorly? Well, I guess it depends on how poorly they aged. Like, for example, I talked earlier about Friends and how I love Friends, but Friends, there's certain parts of it that didn't age very well. For example, there is a lot of gay jokes in that show. A lot of homophobic jokes. They try to tiptoe around it sometimes, but it's not great. But I don't think it's that bad. There's only a few things. And then there's like sitcom logic. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but in almost every sitcom, all of the characters are sociopaths. That's just or you know, not sociopaths, but they're all like pretty shitty. If these people existed in real life, it would be pretty shitty. And that's just kind of sitcom logic. People are just shitty. So to some extent, you have to be like, well, you know, yeah, Joey was a womanizer and maybe kind of rapey, but that's kind of just sitcom logic. But we're seeing now with shows that shows can be like socially responsible. I think The Good Place is a good example. I think Brooklyn Nine-Nine is a great example. So we're seeing that it didn't have to be like that. It just kind of was. That was just the logic back then. I think that the spoilers in The Good Place, if it hasn't been spoiled for you already, I think you should watch it. You should see it yourself. Personally. And there's like a couple like really big spoilers, I think. There's like one like super huge spoiler, but then there's like a couple like minor spoilers throughout the whole thing. Well, I think the idea of Brooklyn Nine-Nine is sort of like a imagined version of a cop precinct that is actually like actually responsible and not corrupt. I think that's sort of the whole idea of it. It's like, what if cops didn't suck? I think that's like the point of the show. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna spoil The Good Place, especially since the 4th season like just dropped a few weeks ago. Maybe if it was a few months down the line. I will say the show is very philosophical. Like, I mean, it's like philosophy 101 type shit, but it does ask a lot of questions about, you know, what it means to be moral or ethical, kind of like what we were talking about earlier in the stream. So if you're into that sort of thing. Also, it's Kristen Bell and Ted Danson, like two of the most lovable people. As far as we know, who knows? They might be terrible people, but I'm a huge fan of Kristen Bell. And it's interesting, like I think The Good Place is interesting because, like I was saying, I don't really like the characters, and part of the reason I don't like the characters is because they are all like truly terrible people. But somehow, even though they are terrible people, the show is still sort of like woke and socially responsible, and I think that it's cool that they were able to balance that. Like they were able to make believably terrible people without like making them, without like relying on like, hey, this person's racist, you know, stuff like that. Which is like, it's fine to make an evil person in a show, like it's fine, like, or a movie or whatever. Like I sometimes I think these like extra woke people are like, this character's problematic because they're racist. Well, it's like, yeah, the point is that they're racist, and the creator is arguing that racism is bad. You're supposed to hate this person because they're racist. Like sometimes people take it a little too far, but yeah, I mean, terrible I think is a bit much, but you understand. I guess people that understand, who have seen it, will understand what I mean. But we're definitely not losing dark humor. I don't know, like a lot of people say that. We're not losing edgy humor. We're not losing dark humor. Like, have you ever seen fucking, what's that show called? What's the Nick Kroll show called? The animated one that he created? Like, have you ever seen BoJack Horseman? Like, that's fucking, you know, that's dark humor, and I don't think it's anything but that, you know. Rick and Morty gets dark sometimes. Big Mouth, that's something else. Like, that is a pretty foul show, you know. I don't think that edgy / dark humor is going anywhere. All right, Impatient Ape, thanks for stopping by. Can you do more videos on the MCU and how superhero movies are optimistically neo-colonialist? You comment on the war on terror working. Yeah. I've thought about doing that, actually. The MCU movies are really interesting to me because I love them. I love the MCU. I'm like a legitimate fanboy of the MCU at this point. However, they argue very, like, those movies are very like pro-war. They're like, we can solve our problems by blowing shit up. That's kind of like one of the ethos of the MCU. And I, as a person, am very, very anti-war. So it's interesting that I'm so into these movies. I don't know if they've like made an argument that convinced me, or if in their fictional world somehow they figured out a way to make war good. It's really interesting. Do I watch stand-up comedy? I like stand-up comedy. I haven't watched a lot of it recently, but I do go through phases where I watch a whole lot of stand-up comedy. I'm a big fan of stand-up comedy. I just like comedy. If you can't tell, I'm a big fan of comedy. I love sitcoms. I love stand-up. I love comedy movies when they're good. They're usually not, but have I seen The Boys? I haven't. I need to see The Boys. Have I seen The Boys? I haven't. I need to see The Boys. Might be just be YouTube. I don't know. Hey, am I back? The fuck? Did everybody leave? Hey, am I back? I literally don't know what happened. My internet was fine because I went to other websites. OBS said I was connected, but it might have been just something with YouTube servers. But the thing is, my OBS disconnected a bunch of times. Yeah, sorry, I was playing I was playing the playback of the stream. That's why there was an echo. It should stop. I think. Let me know if it doesn't stop. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't know. My guess was that YouTube servers just crapped out for a second. That's the only thing I could guess. It could also be that OBS crapped out for a second, but it just didn't show me. What's up, JoJo? Okay, it looks like everybody didn't leave. I think some people left though. I think I have 10 less viewers than I had before. Well, I don't remember what I was talking about. I need to go use the bathroom though. I'll be right back. Make sure you look at my Pikachu tail as I leave. We still here? I didn't disconnect it again, did I? I think YouTube is messing up right now. I think that's what's happening. Well, it's doing this thing on my end. Like, I'm looking at my dashboard on YouTube, and every few seconds it tells me that I have 0 viewers, which is not the case. So I think it's like slipping every few seconds, and sometimes it just slips all the way where it fully disconnects, which I don't know. I'm sure that's the technical way that you would describe it, but yeah, I don't know. Anyway. We'll stream for a little bit longer. I hope you guys enjoy your Halloween. I asked this before, but there's some new people here. But let me know what your Halloween plans are. What was your favorite Halloween costume growing up? Well, to be honest, growing up, I didn't celebrate Halloween because my mom thought that it was satanic. So I didn't really have a costume growing up. I didn't really start celebrating Halloween until college. And in college I went as Leatherface one year, and then after I left college I did this janitor costume, which fit the brand because I was known as the one janitor. But now I just buy onesies like this. They're super comfortable, and they're warm, and they're cute. So that's just my go-to nowadays. I just get onesies. Yeah, my mom is still super not into Harry Potter. Yeah, there's a lot of things. My mom didn't want me to play Magic the Gathering or World of Warcraft. She just thought all that shit was satanic. It's what do you mean you're fighting ghouls and ghosts and shit? My plan is to watch Alien in the morning and play Outlast. Dope. Yeah, I might watch some horror movies later in the day. Well, I raised as JW. I guess you mean Jehovah's Witness? No, but I mean, we're just non-denominational Christians, but they just have a really strong belief in evil spirits and shit that that you can open yourself up to by interacting with sort of occult media and shit. Onesies with footies, absolutely. Although I usually just wear shoes like sneakers because I'm often outside and I don't want the footies to get all gross and dirty. Right now I have 3 onesies. I didn't buy a new one this year. This is one I've had for a while. I've bought a new one for the past 3 years. I have a Totoro onesie. If you go to my Instagram, you can find an old picture of me in my Totoro onesie. And I have a Batman onesie, but I don't think it fits me anymore because I have gained weight over the years. I would be surprised if there wasn't a band already called Satanic Panic. And Satanic Panic is still a thing. It's not something that went away. It's just, I guess it's just less mainstream now because mainstream is a lot more secular, I guess, in America, depending on where you live, I guess. But yeah, if you want a easy, comfortable costume, just get a onesie. It even has holes for your fingers. Brendan Urie's secret death metal band. First video I saw of you, I saw your dreads and knew you were chill. In the age of COVID, Halloween seems extra weird. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna be hanging out with a very small group inside of a house, not going out, not going to be in public. I feel like trick-or-treating is not that bad because it's not like people are like congregating all together. But the problem is, from what we understand, or at least from what I've been reading, children are like one of the primary spreaders of COVID. And you know, those are the people obviously who are going to be trick-or-treating, so maybe trick-or-treating is not a good idea. How come you don't talk about religion as much anymore? I remember you kind of mentioned it in another video, but I always found your takes pretty interesting. I think just because I don't consider it a priority anymore. I think that I just feel like I should be talking about social issues more now. They seem more relevant. I'm always happy to talk about religion, but I just don't consider that a priority anymore. I don't think about it as much anymore as I used to. I think there's like more pressing things going on personally. But I'm still pretty hostile to religion. But it's also one of those things where I'm kind of deciding like what I want my brand to be and what I want my channel to be about. And I don't want my channel to be about like me antagonizing religion. I don't want my channel to be perceived as antagonistic or combative. And that if I talk about religion a lot, that's probably what it would look like. I'm just not into that sort of thing anymore. But if anyone wants to talk about it, I'm happy to talk about it. I still think religion's dumb. I'm okay with talking about it on streams, but I probably won't do any videos about it. Just like earlier, I feel like I lost like 12 subscribers because I was talking about veganism. Because I guess I have controversial views on that. But I would probably not make it. I mean, I made a video about that a long time ago and it didn't go well, so I would probably not make a video about that again. So there's certain things I would talk about on streams, but probably not on videos. Have I voted? No, I'm gonna vote on November 3rd. Please do. I'm an immigrant here. Life has been hell for me this year. Well, unfortunately, I live in Alabama. And I don't know if you know this, but President Donald Trump has the highest approval rating in the state of Alabama. So, because of our stupid electoral college system, he's going to get all of Alabama's electoral votes. Am I getting calls and texts about voting? Absolutely. Is anybody not getting calls and texts about voting? I honestly hate it. Am I gonna stay up to see the election results? Probably, yeah. I think me and my friends are probably just gonna get drunk and yell at the screen. No, I did not know that. Does that mean your vote counts more or less? So it kind of means that my vote doesn't matter. Well, that's kind of an oversimplification. So when it comes to the presidential election, we have the Electoral College, which is basically each state has a certain number of electors, and the electors are the actual people that vote for the president. It's more complicated, but like in a very basic way, each state votes, and whoever gets the most votes gets all of the electors to vote for that person, or whoever gets the most votes, their electors get to vote. So like, how many are in Alabama? Like 8 or something? I can't even remember. 6. 9. Okay, not even close. So, Alabama, where I live, there are 9 electoral votes in Alabama. So everyone's gonna vote, and if Donald Trump gets more votes, which he will, all 9 of Alabama votes will go to Donald Trump. So if you vote for the Democrat in Alabama, it kind of doesn't matter because none of those nine votes are going to go to the Democrat. It's a bad system. There are arguments in favor of it, which you can like research, but I don't think that they're very good arguments. And the amount of votes that each state gets is roughly based on the population of the state, but the states with lower populations have they're overrepresented. It's not proportional to how many people live there, because you know, they don't want it. Like, for example, Wyoming, like nobody lives in Wyoming, but you can't like give them like a quarter of a vote. So they're like, okay, we'll give you 3. How about that? It's basically winner take all. Yes, it's bad. It's a bad system. It doesn't have to be, like, it's not a rule that it has to be winner take all, but it's basically winner take all. I think some states do it differently, but in general, yeah, it's winner take all. And listen, this is only for the presidential election. When you vote for Congress people or senators, it is whoever gets the most votes wins. I'm pretty sure. Maybe it might be you have to have like a certain percentage, but it's not the same. However, I still think you should still vote. For example, I'm still going to vote. First of all, there are other things to vote on than just the president. Like, for example, we're voting on senators. We're voting on state laws and state propositions. So you should definitely still vote, even if you believe, as I believe, that the presidential election is kind of a sham. But you should still vote. But I still think you should vote for the president because, for example, in Alabama, Donald Trump may get like 65% of the vote in Alabama, which is a very clear majority. But we still want to let them know that we're here. We still want the politicians in Alabama, the people, the government in Alabama to know, 30 to 40% of the people here are not fans of this president. We want to let them know that we're here. We want to let them know that they can't ignore us. So I think that you should still vote, even if you live in a state that you know that is not going to be full red or even full blue. If you're a Republican who lives in California, you should still vote. You should let people know that you exist. So that's kind of how I feel about it. But the Electoral College is bad. It's a bad system. I think most people agree it's a bad system, but it's probably not going away because it benefits both parties. So, but it also ends up, so like most states are pretty solidly red or blue. Like Alabama's always going to be red. California's always going to be blue. But there are a few states that it's kind of a toss-up. It's kind of like, oh man, they might go red, they might go blue. States like Florida, Pennsylvania, Ohio. And because of the system we have, those are the only states that the candidates care about. Literally those swing states, as they say, the purple states. Those are the only states that the candidates care about. Yeah, I really don't think there's any good arguments for the system that we have. But that's interesting. I'm glad that we were able to sort of help you understand that, because you kind of take it for granted that everyone understands how it works, but some people don't, and that's cool. Like, and I hope you like continue to research it, because it is a little more complicated than the way I explained it. So definitely do look it up. Look it up. It looks so cool. This is a onesie. This is not something I would like normally wear. I'm just wearing it because of Halloween, but it is cool and it's very comfy for sure. Why are those the states that swing? I don't know really. I guess it's just the demographics of the people that live there. I honestly don't know. Maybe people in the chat know more about that. What's up, Aaron? First time catching one of your streams? Well, welcome. The Supreme Court thing is really frustrating. I don't really know what to think about that. I do think it is, sometimes people are overreacting. I think that Supreme Court judges take their jobs more seriously than Congress people do. But it's very clear that Supreme Court judges are just as biased and often like sort of activists, just like anybody else. But I do think they take their job seriously. I don't think they're just like sycophants like some people make them out to be. In lighter news, I play any tabletop games. Yeah, I'm currently running a D&D game that I'm going to play in tomorrow. And I actually, I'm playing in a Vampire the Masquerade game. It's being streamed. We actually had our first episode last Sunday. And we're going to be playing every other Sunday. So I want y'all to go check that out. I'll drop the Twitch link in the chat, so y'all can check that out. But the next one is going to be next, not this Sunday, but the next. So that's going to be, what, the 8th? No. Yeah, the 8th. November 8th. But I'm going to drop the link because I want y'all to like follow this channel. And by the way, this channel is run by a good buddy of mine, and he does other stuff besides this game that we're running. He's just into like, oh shit, he's just into horror and things like that. But one of the things that he does on his channel is the game that I'm in. It's probably the ratio of urban to rural population. Why is it frustrating? Well, it's just that the Supreme Court has such a huge impact on the direction that the country goes in. And literally all that needs to happen is the president nominates a judge, and then they just get to be a judge forever for the rest of their life. It just seems like too much. We'll love to play chess with you. No, we can play chess. I'll definitely have some chess streams. You'll probably beat me. I'm not great, but I'll have some chess streams, and I'm down to play with viewers. It doesn't even have to be a reward. I'll just play. If would Trump be cool if he had big giant muscles? I don't know. I mean, it would make more sense because people talk about Trump like he is like this super like manly man, and I don't understand that at all. Like, what about him is like manly? Yeah, the very concept of being manly is problematic, obviously, but like, he's not even stereotypically manly. He's like this big dumpy, like fucking doofus. I don't know. Like, he doesn't dress well. He's not like conventionally attractive. There's this like awful spray tan. His hair looks ridiculous. Like, and I don't mean to like make fun of his appearance, but I just mean like he's not like even stereotypically attractive. So it's like, I don't understand why people are like so into it. I just don't get it at all. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, and Markovic, but I don't know what the solution to that is. But like I said, I do think that Supreme Court judges take their job seriously for the most part. Like, historically, I think most of them take their job seriously. Even if they might have views and things that they hold true to. I generally believe, unlike many Congress people, I genuinely believe that Supreme Court justices make decisions based on what they think is best. I truly think that they do that. Even though I may fully disagree with what they think is best, I think that they do that. I don't think that a lot of Congress people do that. A lot of them make decisions based on who was the last person to give them money. Yeah, I took a swing at your name. I figured that might be how it's pronounced. I think that there should be a nice decent term, 8 years, 10 years maybe, and then you're done. You can't be a judge anymore. You can't be reelected. You're just done. How about that? That might do something, right? This is a playlist from a channel called Ruish Sounds. It's just some generic Halloween music. Although some of this isn't really Halloweeny, but it's fine. Earth Gang? I don't know what that is. Can I cook? I like to cook. I think I'm okay at cooking, but I like to cook and I do it all the time. What's my go-to? I really like making fried rice. I like making omelets. I like to fry stuff. I like to deep fry stuff. I really like making fried chicken, although I haven't really mastered it, but I like making it. I would say probably my go-to dish is fried rice. Part of the reason justices were set for life was because back in the old days, people were lucky to live up to 40. Oh yeah, if you have it on top chat rather than live chat, it will remove messages sometimes if they are naughty, or if they're like spammy, if they have links or something. Yeah, I don't know. Deep frying things is kind of scary, but I've never had any real issues with it, and I'm a pretty messy cooker. I don't know if I've just been lucky. You just gotta make sure you don't like overfill the pot with grease. I'm learning about this in class. Actually, the Constitution doesn't specify how long Supreme Court terms are. Is that true? I thought it did say for life. Maybe not. Yeah, if you get like grease like spilling over, that's when you get in trouble. But one thing I've learned is that you need less alcohol. Oh wait, alcohol, oil. You need less oil than you think you need a lot of the time. And sometimes you can get away with putting half as much as you think you need and just flipping it halfway through. It says that they hold term during good behavior. Interesting. So as long as they are on their best behavior, they get to do it forever. To be honest, the whole concept of the Supreme Court is a bit weird to me. Like, can you imagine being a person and being like, I have to make a decision that's going to change the course of the everyday lives of hundreds of millions of people. Literally. Just me, one person has to make a decision that literally could either ruin or greatly increase the quality of hundreds of millions of people's lives. Like, that shouldn't be a thing, right? That shouldn't be a thing. Yeah, don't put water on a grease fire for sure. Oh yeah, I haven't really mentioned it, but I've definitely been drinking a little bit of alcohol during this stream. You think Bezos or Trump is more powerful? Well, it depends on how you define power. Bezos could probably get more things done than Trump if he really wanted to. But Trump could literally blow up the world if he wanted to. I don't think Bezos could do that. See, this is the thing about America. Like, our government is fucked. But, like, there's so many great people in this country, and there's so many cool people doing cool shit. It's like, I want to root for this country. But it's like, it just seems like it's a losing battle. I mean, everyone that I know and love lives in America, you know? I'm 17, so sometimes I drink 4 or 5 cups of coffee at night to feel effects. Are you able to sleep after that? Sheesh. Thoughts on Bald Man, are they epic? I'm sure that some of them are epic. I don't know, at this point in my life, if I even have a little bit of caffeine before bed, I just won't sleep at all. My body is like, nope. But I've said this before, if I get the opportunity to move to a country that I think has a better situation, I'm fucking doing it. I'm out. I'm out this bitch. Like, if Norway is like, yo, you can come live here, I'm out. Maybe even Canada. Like, I might just dip out to Canada. It's kind of cold up there, but shit. I know Canada's not perfect either, but they got their shit together a little bit better than America. This is whiskey and Coke Zero is what I'm drinking right now. I did that for most of my 20s and I discovered I was chronically underslept. Yeah, I mean, shit. Where would you move to given the opportunity? I need to do more research, but right now the best places seem to be one of the Scandinavian countries. Norway in particular seems pretty cool, but you know, like Denmark and Sweden are probably cool. I've looked at France. I think France is a candidate, but then there's also Canada seems cool, and there's like cool stuff going on like in Uruguay and like different countries like that. New Zealand seems cool, but from what I understand, it's really hard to move to New Zealand. They just don't let people move there. Why do you want to dip so bad? Like you said, everyone you love is here. Yeah, I mean, I feel like once you get to a certain age, even though you know everyone you know is there, it's not like you're like hanging out with everyone. After a certain point, you kind of start your own family and do your own thing, and you figure out what you're doing with your own life. It's not like you're fucking, you know, partying with your friends every day, you know, after a certain age. And I'm getting to that age, you know. So I have to figure out what I'm gonna do with my life and with my family, and where I'm gonna be happy. Well, yeah, I don't think that moving to another country is feasible during COVID, and that's not something that I can really do right now. Anyway, that's like maybe like 5 to 10 years down the line for me. You lived in 19 countries. Wow. Switzerland, yeah, the Netherlands. Germany seems pretty legit too. France, they get really impatient with you if you don't speak French. Well, I guess I'll just learn French then. I mean, I think I could do it if I put my mind to it, but I don't know. Venezuela. I'm not super educated on Venezuela, but it does not seem like a great place. Do I speak other languages? I speak Spanish poorly. That's what I always say. I know like more above average Spanish, but not really enough to say that I can speak it. How do I feel about the Green Party? I think the Green Party has produced a lot of really great candidates and a lot of really great politicians. The Green Party itself has been historically weird. Like, one of the main things about them that's been weird is they have been really weird about like alternative medicine. Sometimes they produce like anti-vaxxer candidates. They're like really into like fucking homeopathy. How the fuck you say it? Homeopathy. So yeah, they have some kind of like they have some borderline sketchy positions sometimes, but they produce a lot of really good candidates. Like their current candidate Howie Hawkins is super dope. Like his platform is like perfect. Do I watch any YouTube politics news shows? I mean, I watch a couple of video essays. Video essayists. As far as like news shows, I watched David Pakman. That's probably the only one that I watch. David Pakman's cool. Yeah, Howie Hawkins is the shit. Yeah, I stabbed. Yeah. And listen, I don't know if people know this about me, but I actually voted for Jill Stein in 2016. And Howie Hawkins is like fucking twice as good as Jill Stein. So. However, I don't think that he's going to be on the ballot in Alabama. I don't think that he's gotten enough votes to even be on the ballot here. What places do I get my daily news from? I don't know, a lot of people ask this, but I think that most of the well-known news organizations are fine. You just have to make sure you are getting your news from a diversity of sources and not relying on just one source, because each source has their own bias. Each like editor, each writer sort of has their own bias, so you have to like combine a lot of stuff. But I mean, like fucking Washington Post is fine, the Guardian's fine, New York Times is fine, CNN is fine. Like obviously none of them are perfect, but if you combine all of the sources together and figure out like what are the facts of the case, then you're fine. And like fact check people and stuff like that. Jill Stein was going after Howie because Howie takes the Russia Mueller thing seriously. Oh, does Jill Stein not take it seriously? Seems like Jill Stein would be into something like that. Maybe not. I see that Chick-fil-A cup. I haven't had it before, but you're making me hungry. Yo, Chick-fil-A is super overrated. It's fine, but I think it's like the most overrated thing of all time. Kanye didn't make the ballot there, but did in Oklahoma. Yeah, I did see some people were posting screenshots of him making certain ballots. I really want to know how many votes he's going to get. If you're comfortable, can you tell us about you? You married, working other jobs? I'm not married. This is my only job. What's my world like? Pretty chill. I just have to be more specific, but mainly what I do is in my life, the things that I do are I make YouTube videos, I play D&D, and I watch YouTube. That's kind of like the three main things that I do. And I play video games, I guess. Yeah, my life is pretty simple. Every now and then I do something cool, like I went to the beach not too long ago. I like to hang out with friends. I'm a very social person. Before COVID, I went out a lot. I like to go to bars and shit. That was kind of my thing. I like to have a drink or two, as you can see. I'm into superhero movies, D&D, and I like pro wrestling, and I like fighting games, and I like sitcoms. Yeah, the people who run Chick-fil-A are pretty anti-gay. Yeah, I would look for news sources outside the US, especially if they're reputable. But sometimes it's hard to find people like specifically reporting on every single issue in the US. Definitely don't have kids. I have parents. They're both cool. I don't know if I would say I have a partner, but I have, as Facebook would say, it's complicated. Like we were earlier in the stream, I don't know who all was here, but we were talking about polyamory. And that's kind of the situation that I'm in. Yo, people misuse the fuck out of the term socialism. I'm not sure if I saw Cat Black's video on polyamorous. I know that she was involved with polyamory, but I don't know exactly what her feelings are. It's kind of like a weird thing. Like I really hate like using labels. I'm just kind of living my life, but I guess that's what you call it. Like I don't like to think of it as some kind of identity. Some people think of it like that. Like I when I meet polyamorous people, I always ask them, is polyamory something that you are or something that you do? And some people, I get different answers from different people. Some people like very strongly identify as polyamorous and it's a very big part of their identity. And other people, it's like, yeah, it's just a thing that I do in my life. And that's kind of how I feel. It's just like, hey, it's just a thing that's going on. Why'd you start doing YouTube? Because I just like making stuff, and YouTube was just another opportunity to make stuff. And just this time, I happened to build a pretty decent audience. That's pretty much it. Does poly just mean you're romantically attracted to multiple people simultaneously? I mean, it's a little bit more than that, because I think anybody can be romantically attracted to multiple people. I feel like that has probably happened to most people who are, you know, romantic. Polyamorous basically just means, it means different things to different people. But the common thread is that it is non-monogamy. It is, you have multiple romantic / sexual relationships. So that could be perceived as open relationships. So you have a primary partner, but you have agreed that that you are free to explore sexual relationships with other people. That could also be you have a primary partner, but you also have secondary romantic relationships. So you might have like a primary, just for the sake of this discussion, you might have like a primary boyfriend or girlfriend, but you also have another boyfriend or girlfriend, but it's considered a secondary relationship to your primary. But you could also have multiple equal relationships. So you could have 2 or more people who are both your primary. You could have people who are all in a relationship together. So you could have 3, 4, 5 people who are all in a relationship together. They all date each other. They all have sex with each other. Or you can have a person who has sex with this person and has sex with this person, but those 2 people don't have sex with each other. So there's many different ways that it could work out. But as I said, the common factor is non-monogamy. I would say non-monogamous is probably a better term for me than polyamorous, but I think polyamorous fits as well. I bet they'll be the norm within 50 years. Possibly. I think it's becoming more common, but I do think that some people will want monogamy, and I understand that, and I don't think that's going to go away. It's pretty difficult though, like, because most people, at least where it probably depends on where you live, but I live in Alabama, which is a very traditional place, and most people do not understand and are not interested in polyamory or non-monogamy. So it's difficult to navigate sometimes. We talk about polyamorous love as the spooky music plays in the background. I think I'm probably just going to stream for another 15-20 minutes or so and then probably shut it down. Been going for maybe, 3.5 hours? Did I talk with my parents about my partners? Nope. I just don't think that it is a thing that my parents will ever truly understand, so I don't really bother. Yeah, that's how I feel. I think a lot of people sometimes feel like they have to push things on their parents or whatever, but I don't feel the need to do that. I will do whatever I need to do to keep peace in my home. What were you doing before YouTube when you decided to make the jump? The last job that I had before, I went full-time on YouTube was I worked security at a bar. I was like a door guy at a bar, but I've had many sort of random jobs. But I always did YouTube. I made my YouTube channel in like 2007, 2008, and I started making videos like on a frequent, regular basis in 2010. So I've been doing this pretty much for 10 years plus. It's something that I've always been interested in doing. I've always loved doing it, even before making money was even a potential at all. So I just kept doing it, and eventually started getting an audience. They opened up the partner program. They let me put ads on my videos, started making a little tiny bit of money, so I just kind of kept going. I think one of the turning points was I worked at this call center. It was a really weird, stupid job, but I worked there, and then I got fired, but I was able to get unemployment. So I was like, I'm gonna live off of unemployment for a year while I work on my YouTube channel. And so I went really hard for a year, and I think in that year is when I really got into my groove, and I really started to build a little bit of an audience. But it's, by the end of that year, I still wasn't making quite enough to live off of. So I had to get another job, and that's when I started working at the bar. And then after that, and I don't know, working at the bar, it was an easy job, but it was weird. I talked about this earlier in the stream, but you just have to deal with like shitty drunk people all the time, and it was like making me hate people, and I didn't like it. So I had to eventually leave that. Even though I learned a lot about the service industry and I made a lot of friends, I had to leave the job. And after that, I was like, I'm making a little bit of money. And I don't have that many expenses. I'm just gonna try to live off this. And it was that was probably a bad idea, to be honest. I did not make that much money at all, but I tried to grind it out. I tried to work on YouTube, and I was like super poor for a while, but I did work for myself. I didn't have a boss. So it was kind of a trade-off, and it was a trade-off that I was happy to make. Like, I was like, if I can make YouTube videos, I'll be poor. That's fine, because this job is dope. And so I just pushed on. My channel fucking plateaued for a good 2 years, and I thought my channel was dead and that was just gonna be it. And eventually I was gonna be like, okay, if I want to move on, I'm gonna have to do something, so I may have to like give up this YouTube thing. But luckily, I had some devoted followers that supported me on Patreon that really helped me out. And over the past 2 years, the channel has started to really blow up. Like, it's like, I feel like I feel really, really lucky that I have this job. But I also feel like I paid my dues for 10 years. So it's like, I'm lucky, but also I fucking busted my ass for 10 years. So I don't know, is it luck or is it hard work? I don't know. But after, recently things have been going really well, and things have just been working out. And like, for the first time like ever in my life, I actually am like financially stable, and it's because of YouTube, and that's fucking crazy to me. Like, I used to talk on these streams, like I used to stream on YouTube. I used to talk about all the time, like, yeah, I'm poor, but I have an awesome job, so it's fine. But it's like, I can't even say that anymore. Like, I'm not poor anymore. It's crazy. Like, I never thought that would happen. Like, can you imagine like being poor your whole life and then just one day not being poor anymore? It's fucking wild. And I'm not trying to brag. It's just, I'm literally marveling at what has happened, because, and listen, it's all because of y'all. Y'all realize that, right? Like, It's because of the people that watch me and support me. Like, this is one of the rare jobs where you literally owe your success to other people. Like, obviously part of it is the work that I've done, but none of this would happen without the audience. So do my parents watch my videos? I think they do sometimes. What's my most embarrassing moment of all time? I don't know. I don't even know how to begin to answer that. ContraPoints is cool. I do agree. Speaking of Contra, would you ever do a Healthy Gamer GG interview? Did Contra do a Healthy Gamer GG interview? Because if so, I need to watch that. I didn't know that was a thing. I mean, I would love to do that. I would love to. I'm a big fan of Dr. K. I'm a huge fan of him. He's like a role model for me. I really enjoy it. Do I live with other people right now? Yeah, I live with my brothers. I live with 2 brothers. It's like the opposite of rappers who pretend they're rich when they're poor. I've been there. I remember struggling like hell and desperately needing $30 a week. I'm not that anymore. I barely even think about money anymore. Yeah, it's wild. And I try to remain conscious of it because I don't want to get to a point where I take $1 for granted. Because I used to be that guy that didn't have the dollar, and I don't want to forget that that's a thing. Oh man, I gotta watch that. I'm a huge fan of ContraPoints, and I'm a huge fan of Dr. K. So I would love to see that. And I think that Natalie has been kind of struggling lately, so I hope that Dr. K could help her. You deserve even more subscribers. Well, I appreciate that. I'm growing, so I think the subscribers will come. Like where I'm at right now, if I never got any bigger than where I'm at now, I would be fine. But that's a cool thing about this job is like you kind of have nowhere to go but up. Like sometimes channels plateau. Like if I got really lazy and didn't work as hard, maybe my channel would start dying or something. But I think the subscribers will come. Like I have 230,000 subscribers right now. Never thought that would happen. Just saying. Like in 2016 ish, I reached like 80,000 subscribers and my channel just stopped growing. I was stuck at like 80 something thousand for a good 2 years. So I was like, oh, I guess my channel's fucking dead. And then the next year I started to rebound and grow again, and I finally crossed 100,000. And I was like, I hit 100,000. I'm good. Like the next like milestone that anyone cares about is 1 million, and that, you know, if that ever happens, that'll be wild. So I'm happy, and I've already doubled that and more. So, you know, I am very happy. You're much more high energy in your vids than on live. Yeah, yeah. On the videos, I am definitely performing a little bit, but this, when you're watching the live stream, this is closer to how I am in real life. I'm a very chill, calm dude. In the videos, I'm somewhat performing, you know. Do I like Wings of Redemption? I don't know that I know who that is. Appreciate the comment, D. I do think that I'm going to go ahead and end the stream here, though. I've been going for a good 3.5/4 hours. And yeah, you won't see me before the election. I truly hope that Donald Trump is no longer the president after this is all done, but we'll see what happens. I will have a video coming out next week, so keep an eye out for that. But I think, wait, what's today? Monday? Okay, so I should oh, it's Friday. What am I talking about? Actually, I might stream. I'll probably stream on Monday, but that's the day before election day, so so you might see me on Monday, but after that, I should have a video coming out next week, so keep an eye out for that. Obviously, the best way to make sure you don't miss any of that is to click the notification bell on the channel. You obviously don't have to. I understand if you don't want to, but that's just the way that YouTube made it. If you really want to make sure you don't miss anything, that's the only way to ensure that. You would think that just clicking subscribe would do that, but it doesn't. YouTube's weird. I hope you guys have a happy and safe Halloween. Even if you're not celebrating per se, I hope you have a decent day. If you would like to watch a replay of this stream or any past streams, there should be a link in the description below to a playlist. You can watch any of the past streams, including this one, which I will add to the playlist as soon as I am done. And just thanks everyone for stopping by. I think we had a bunch of pretty cool conversations today. But yeah, just and make sure to check the description below. You'll see all of my social media and all my links. If you want to contact me, if you want to email me, all that stuff is below. So go ahead and do that. But other than that, I think we're done, and I will see y'all probably on Monday. Okay, bye.